Hi, I'm Amanda of Inspiring Inkin. Welcome to my craft room. In today's video we're going to be making some fold flat gift bags. Now this is actually video 2 of a series of 2 videos. In my first video I showed some smaller sizes. These are much bigger bags. They have reinforcing and additional bits to make sure that they're super strong. And as you can see, they fold completely flat for storage, but they open out and they are a really good size of bag. So let's get the camera turned around and get crafting. So here is the first of 2 fold flat bags we will be making today. This one and this one, they're both using paper from the Come Sail Away With Me suite. But for the bags that I'm actually going to be making today, I'm going to be using papers from the Dino suite, which is stunning. My kids loved dinosaurs when they were growing up, and even though they are now grown, they still love dinosaurs. So this paper is fabulous for people of any age, I think. So these are the papers here. You'll find the suite on page 98-99 and 100 of the annual catalogue. If you don't have a catalogue and you're in the UK, France, Germany, Austria or the Netherlands, send me an email, amanda@inspiringinkin.com, with all your contact details and I'll pop one in the post to you. Okay, so I have mentioned this is video 2 of a 2-part series. So if you want smaller bags, then pop over and watch video 1. There will be a link in the description for you. So by the time you've watched both videos, you're going to have lots of different sizes of bags. So I'm going to start with the big bag first. You are going to need a scoring board, a bone folder, a pair of scissors and a knitting needle, or a piece of doweling or a skewer, something like that, in order to help you make the handles, and of course some glue. And that's it. So, what I did want to do is just measure the bags just to show you. So this is the largest bag and it measures 9 inches by 8.5, and then the base is 3. Yeah, and then the square bag is 7 by 6 by 2.5. Okay, so bring the scoreboard back in. So to make this bigger bag, you're going to need quite a lot of paper. So it's a good job stamping up. Always give you 2 sheets of each pattern in the paper pack. So you need 2 12 by 12 sheets for this bag. You're going to need some contrasting paper, and this is 2.5, yeah, 2.5 by 12. So I really like that as a contrast. You're going to need 2 strips for the inside. So let me just show you in here. Let me open up the bag. I've put some reinforcing on these handles. One, it tidies it up, but also it acts as a reinforcer to ensure that the handle is really well stuck to the bag. So you're going to need 2 strips, and they are 1.5 by 7.5. And then I've also put a piece of reinforcing here in the base. So that piece is 7 by 2.5. Okay, so don't worry, whilst I just retrieve my scoring tool from the floor. Don't worry if you didn't catch those measurements. All of the measurements will be on YouTube or on my blog, and you just need to scroll down and you'll be able to see them there. So you're going to score the 12 by 12 sheets in exactly the same way. Do make sure when you're scoring though that if it's got a definite pattern like this, that you are scoring so you always know where the base is going to be. So this is going to be the top, and we're going to score it at 3 inches and 11.5, and then turn it round and score it at 3 inches. So exactly the same for this one. 3 inches, 11.5, and then 3 inches again. Okay, so that's all the scoring. Get rid of the scoring board now. And let's just fold these lines. Now, what I always do when I'm scoring paper is I always fold it with my fingers gently first, just to kind of encourage the paper to do exactly what it is that I want it to do, and then I'll go over it with the bone folder in a second just to reinforce those score lines. But that's the way I always do it. So let's go over there like that. So I'm just cutting out the small section here. And then I'm just going to cut up to that score line just there. So now to make the bag, we're going to stick this piece onto here like so. So just run some glue down there. It's always easier to stick a 3D project flat, if that makes sense, because you can line it up much easier. So there we go. And then we'd flip this around, and then this piece here, excuse me, this piece here, and that's going to fold flat there. Okay, so that is your bag base. Now there isn't going to be a right side or a wrong side with this because you've got seams on both sides, so just pick whichever side you want to be the front. So I'm going to pick this side, and just fold down the flats. So this piece here, it's going to have these two flaps stuck onto it, so we're going to put the glue on there, like so, and you're going to have to put your hand inside the bag just to press it up so that that catches. You've then got this reinforcing piece, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to stick it onto this piece here first so it's nice and aligned. So let me just... And all this is doing is, because it's a bigger bag, it just gives you a little bit more reinforcing in the base, so it's less likely to tear. So there you go. So that's there, and then now I'm going to put glue all the way around. Ooh. And just give it a good press down. Just want to make sure that it's actually caught along that edge. There we go. Give it a little bit more of a press. There we go. Okay, so that's the bag made. So now we're going to make the handles. And what we're going to do is use the knitting needle. And I want this pattern to be on the outside, so I'm going to turn it around. And you want to put the knitting needle, the doweling, at sort of an offset angle. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I know that's 45 degrees, so I'm not sure what that is, but less than 45 degrees. And what you're going to do is roll up the paper. Now, you want to keep pressing this really firmly, okay? Because you want the paper to roll and kind of stay together. Let me move that one out of the way. So as it starts sort of rolling down the needle, I'm just going to move the needle down, and then it's going to roll further down. And it's going to go all the way down. Now, I want these handles to be quite long, and that isn't really long enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let go of that, and you can see it's twisted on the needle, and then I'm going to pull it at both ends. So I'm actually going to pull it and try and make it longer. So that works really well to get it as long as you need it. And then just put a little bit of glue here and just stick it down. Okay, so that's one. So now just repeat it. Sometimes the paper works with you and it's easy to do, and sometimes a bit more tricky. So don't worry if it's not rolling as well as you want it to. Just sort of release it a bit and then keep going. And again, I'm going to release it a bit because I want it to certainly be as long as the other handle. And pop a little bit of glue on there, like so. Okay, so we're just going to leave that for a second to dry. Now, actually, can you see this handle has stretched a bit more and it's fatter than this one? So that's actually going to show when you do the handles. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull this out a bit more and stick that down again, and hopefully they will even themselves out. Get Tombow everywhere today. Right. Yeah, that one's pinged as well. The handles are not cooperating today. Right. There we go. Okay, so they're done. Right, so let's sort out the bag. Now, the way that you're going to know which is the back of the bag is you'll be able to see that there's a cut line there, and then this piece, there's it's just a fold. So you want the right side facing you, and you're going to use your fingers and your thumbs, and you're going to press in the sides so that the two edges line up on the outside, and you're just going to squeeze it down. And because the bag is quite big, you're going to have to do one side at a time to begin with. Okay, so you're going to go down. Let's just press that in a bit. Press that in. I'm going to go down as far as you can, and you'll get to a point where it just won't go anymore. And then what you're going to do is you're going to press the back and fold the front over, and it will just lie flat. Okay, and you're going to go over with your bone folder over the score lines on both sides, and then you'll be able to see. So it gives this great crease line here. Here you've got crease lines coming down the centre, you've got a line here, and then you've got a triangle, and that is how the bag stays flat. Okay, so let's work on the handles again now. Just going to give them a bit of a squash, so making them flat, and then just bend them over your hands, over your fingers, and just encourage them to make a handle shape. And it's really interesting because there's so much paper in the roll. These handles are really strong, so it's really good. So I'm just gonna roll the handles a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do with the handles is we're going to put these reinforcing pieces on as well. So I am going to get some double-sided tape to do this, and then we'll get them stuck down. Now, you don't often see me using double-sided tape. I prefer my lovely Tombow. There are a couple of reasons that I'm using double-sided tape today. Firstly, you've got, if I stuck this all down with Tombow, you've got the handles being stuck down with glue, which is wet, and these panels being stuck down. And basically it's too much slippy glue to be able to pin it down. And you may have noticed I'm a little bit impaired today. At the weekend, I was working in the garden with Brian. I was pruning our lavender bushes. We have a lot of lavender in our garden, and I pruned the end of my finger instead of the lavender, that bush that I was actually holding on to. Thankfully, I haven't taken the whole tip of my finger off, but I have made a great big hole in it. So clearly I have to keep it covered up, but also it means I can't grip as well. It's quite frustrating. Right, so these handles are going about here. So I am going to use a Tombow to stick them down first, and then I will use the tape pieces. So I'm just going to pop that, hold that there. And do the same this side. And then once they're stuck down, then I'll put the reinforcing pieces on. And all this is doing is it's pinning down the handles to the inside of the bag. Right, I better make sure the dinosaurs are the right way up. You can, of course, stick these down, or attach the handles with brads, that sort of thing. Right, that is just, there we go. Whatever you want to, really. It does depend on kind of what you're putting in it. If you're putting something really heavy in it, then maybe use brads, just to help it along. Right, there's the last piece. Get my dinosaurs the right way up. And actually it's really good because this paper here on the inside has got stripes, so that's really easy for me to be able to line it up. My grid paper's moving, everything's moving. Okay, so there you go. So there is the largest size fold flat bag. There's the other pattern. So that is really straightforward. So that's using 2 sheets of 12 by 12. This square bag is what we're going to make next. I'll just get my measurements, and you are going to need 2 pieces of paper, and this first piece is 9.5 inches by 12, and that is going to make the front and the sides. And then for the back you need a piece that's 6 inches by 9.5. The handles are 2 inches by 12, and then these inside reinforcing pieces are 1.5 by 5.5. So let's get the scoreboard in. So on this first piece we are going to score it at 1/2 inch, 3 inches, 9 inches, 11.5, and you're going to turn it round and score it at 2.5. And then this piece we're only scoring the base, so that is 2.5. Okay. So again, we're just going to fold these score lines with our fingers first, just to encourage the paper to do what we want it to do. Excuse me. And then I'm just going to trim that piece and this piece off. And then from the base to the score line. And then what we're going to do is just use the bone folder and go over the top of all of these creases. I do love this pink dinosaur paper. It is very pretty. Okay, so that's all of the pieces done. Oh no, apart from that score line there. So this piece is going to make the bag. So shall we try that again? This piece is going to make the back of the bag. So I'm going to stick that piece onto there. So this is the one of the 1/2 inch strips. So that piece is going on there like so. And then fold that piece in, and then it's going to stick there like that. Okay, so that is the back of the bag. So what we're going to do, I've got the front facing me, so I'm going to fold this piece down and put glue on these 2 pieces. I haven't put any base reinforcing in this bag because it's a smaller bag, but obviously you can on any of the bags. And if you haven't already seen video 1, this is actually video 2 of 2. I've got some smaller fold flat bags, and there'll be a link in the description whether you're on YouTube or whether you're on my blog. And then this piece is going to go down as well. Oh, my blog, in case you're wondering, is www.inspiringinkin.com, and you can subscribe over there. That means you won't miss any of my creative inspiration. And of course you can subscribe here on YouTube as well. That way you'll get notified when I have some new videos. Okay, so there is the bag made up. What I'm going to do now is make the handles. So I'm using some complementary pink paper. I want the pink on the outside. So I'm going to put the knitting needle in at an angle, curve up the paper, and what you want to do is you're rolling the paper around the needle and just keep hold of it so it's quite tight as it's rolling. And because I'm pressing so hard, the grid paper is moving. Right, it does not want to twist today. Sometimes, or for some people, you might find it easier to roll it around the needle like I'm doing here. But you'll end up with quite a short handle. So then if you pull it and stretch it out, twist it a bit more, you'll end up with a bit longer handle, and then you put some glue on it and that will hold it in place. You will find the way to make these handles, whatever works for you, the easiest thing that works for you. It is possible to kind of roll it with your fingers without the knitting needle, but I really struggle to do that. And so, certainly at the moment, because my left hand is not working as well as it should do. So let's roll and roll and roll. Move that knitting needle. Everything's falling over. Roll it as much as you can, tight as you can. Let's kind of have a look to see how long that is. That's almost as long as I need it. So I'm just going to let it go a bit. Pull it. Yeah, that's better. And then put some glue on here. There we go. Okay, so that is the two handles made. What we're going to do now is just give them a squash. I know you've made them into a nice beautiful tube, and now I'm going to squash them, but this obviously is a fold flat bag, so you need handles that are flat as well. So curve this up. Flatten it out, curve it. Right, so they're nearly ready. So let's just finish the bag. So you know which side is the back because it's the single panel piece. And what you're going to do is you're going to push in the sides and squeeze. And you're just going to squeeze down and just, if you need to, just press that in a little bit here, just to help it go down. And eventually it will get to a point where it will not go anymore. It won't let you do it anymore. So then what you're going to do with that is you're just going to fold it down backwards. You're just going to make it fold down onto itself. Give it a good press. Go over the top with a bone folder on both sides. What you're doing is reinforcing those folds that you've just made. And then you'll find that you've got a beautiful fold flat bag with a seam here, a triangle here, a seam along the back. And this will all, does what it says on the tin, fold flat. So let's just open it up. Get our strips of paper. Let me see if I can pin down my grid paper, stop it moving. And I'm going to use my double-sided tape. I don't know what has happened to this paper. It was in a bag. It was in the bag, and it's obviously got crumpled. But by the time it's pinned down on the inside of the bag, it'll be fine. Just put in a couple of strips. I love this double-sided tape Stampin' Up does. It's called tear and tape, and you actually do. It just tears. It's really straightforward to use. You don't have to use scissors. Okay, so handles. I'm going to curve them round and then stick the flat pieces down. So a little bit of glue on both. And you're just going to have to be patient for a second whilst the Tombow sticks. The Tombow unfortunately is sticking to everything, including my bandage. Right, that one's in. Do the same with this one. Okay, so the handles are in. We're just going to put these strengthening strips on, and it just pretties up. Now I'm just checking there isn't a right side. No, these dinosaurs are going in all directions so that we are okay. So I'm just going to pop that down. Press that in. Now, hopefully the camera will be able to pick that up, and do the same here. There we go, give it a good old press down, and there you go. So there is the square bag. So there are the two square bags, and then here are the two bigger bags. So let me just show you finally these, and if I just stack them all one on top of another, you can see they're just going to take up so little space when they're made. It's really, really cool bag. So let me leave these here. So all there is for me to say is thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed video 2 of the fold flat gift bags. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel and my blog, which is www.inspiringinkin.com. All of the products that you have seen today you can purchase at my online store, either by scrolling down whether you're on YouTube or on my blog. You will see direct links there. Do leave me a comment. I reply to each and every one. And if you have any suggestions of things that you would like me to make, then do let me know. I love to hear from you. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.